Hi everybody, my name is Amy Reed and I teach math and physics at Shawnee Mission South High School. And in this video I'm going to talk about some of the basics behind what you ought to know for your child's physics or math class this year. I'm going to take some time now to go through some basic information about the class. First of all, the kids, I've just had a great time starting the year that it's been so nice to be with students, to be able to do hands-on activities. Last year, of course, was hard for all of us, but I just had a really hard time with physics because doing things is such a big part of it. So we have had a good time starting off the year, getting our hands on some activities. I do like to be outside, so we try to come outside and get some fresh air as much as possible. And I tell you what, the students have been all in. We really have done a lot of work. And one of the things I really love about this class is I get to see some students that I've had before in math class, and now I see them again in physics. And I see such a different side of them sometimes. Sometimes not, sometimes it's the same kid. But some students who don't do as well in math end up really shining in physics, and that's a lot of fun to see. So this class, as far as how the grades are going to go, we do have homework almost every night. That counts for 10% of the grade. However, I do not collect it every day. In fact, I don't collect very many assignments. What I do instead is I have what I call these homework portfolios. And so in the portfolio, they will just prove to me their understanding of the material. And so we're not going to turn in every single video that we do. We're not going to turn in every single assignment that we do. But at the end of a couple of weeks, I will say, okay, so tell me about this concept, or what do you know about that concept? And that will be about 10% of their grade. And then labs. Labs are an important part of physics, and in this class, it's an AP class, so the labs are a little bit more open-ended. I don't give them like a recipe that says this is how you do the lab. It's a lot more open-ended, and I try to get them thinking. And one of the reasons I do that is just educationally, pedagogically, it's a good thing to do. But another thing is on the AP test, there is always one question that they call a lab design question, experimental design. And so the students have to know how should I set it up? How should I test this thing? So that's why I do it that way. And then that allows 70% of the grade to be weighted on tests. In my class, I start off the year and all year long we use AP style questions. Those questions are difficult, and they are much more difficult than a normal high school level test question might be. And so I do use a curve, and it is quite generous. It's a curve that a lot of teachers across the country use for AP. And what it does is it allows, because the AP class is supposed to be like a college level class, so this allows the class to be kind of curved down to a high school level. As far as what kind of resources we do not have a physical textbook. I use an online book called OpenStax. We have videos that are online, we have online interactives, we do labs, we do all sorts of different things. So there's not just like one thing that we use. There's not just one textbook that we use. We use a variety of resources. And this is a rigorous class. Students will need to study. And really the more they apply themselves, the better their grade is going to be. I've had a lot of bright kids come through this class. And if you're bright, that's great. But if you're on your phone the whole time, you're not going to be learning anything. And on the other hand, I've had some students who are just working hard, and their hard work gets them very far away. So it is rigorous. Students will have homework almost every night, and they will need to study. As far as the topics, these are the topics. AP did cut out some of our topics last year. It was one of those things that they had been thinking about it, or actually teachers had been grumbling about it for years. And finally, with the COVID, AP decided to cut out some of our topics. And so what we have left are really a lot of mechanics, and that's about it. But these are really good topics, and it allows us to really go a little bit more in depth than we would have if we still had those other topics. So this is what we do. And then at the end of the semester, we spend some time reviewing for the test. And we do have class time that we can do some review. I try to make it where yes, the students should be studying on their own, but I don't really require them to be studying on their own for the test. This is some information, and let me see if I can zoom in. I can't. That goes through test data, just because I want to be clear about the test data. In this class, getting a 4 or a 5 on the AP test is really difficult to do. In some classes, over 50% of the people who take the test get a 4 or a 5. That's not the case in this class. If we look at the national numbers, about 23% of the people got an A 4 or a 5. And in my classes, about 22% of people got a 4 or a 5. I didn't actually have any 5s this year, nor did I have any 5s last year, but I have had 5s in the past. So I just want to be open about that so that you know, so that when you get to that point, you're not expecting a 4 or a 5. It is not a given 4 or 5 in this class. And then if you look at our 3s, 4s, and 5s, and I actually compare some of this down here, it might be easier to look at it down here. 4s and 5s, we are about in line with national. 3s, 4s, and 5s, we are also about in line with national. If you go back a year, our 3s, 4s, and 5s were actually much above the national averages. So anyway, my numbers are in line with national numbers, usually a little bit higher, but not a whole lot higher than what the national numbers are. And that's where you can see what's going on here in this table. This is a little bit about myself, and you are welcome to look this over on your own time if you wanted to go back and look at it. But basically, I have been teaching math and English as my certification. And then just in 2017, that's when I started teaching physics. I went back to school, got a couple of classes under my belt, took the Praxis, which is the teacher certification test, and got certified and started teaching that next year. So I'm a little bit new to physics. I feel like I'm finally getting my feet under me. I really enjoy this class a lot, and I'm feeling a lot more confident now that I've had a couple years under my belt. A little bit more about myself. I do have a son who is a senior this year, so if you have a senior or have had a senior, you know that's a little bit busy for me, and a little bit about me and my family. If you are interested in contacting me, the best way to contact me is through email. That's easiest for me. But of course, we can set up a conference via WebEx or whatever you need. I also want to take a few minutes to look at a couple things in Canvas. So let me switch over to Canvas. So this is my Canvas homepage, and just to show you a couple of things. One thing is at the bottom, I try to have a week at a glance, and this is for last week. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind on my week at a glance apparently, but I try to do that so the students know what's ahead, what's coming up. And so that I try to keep up on that. I can't promise 100%, but I do try to keep up on that. Also over here, this is the to-dos. I'm going to switch over to student view so you can see what that looks like for your students. One thing that I'm doing this year, I think I mentioned this a minute ago, I'm not grading every single assignment. However, those assignments are showing up in their to-do list. So here's a to-do list. They should be watching a video and taking notes. They need to do their Buggy Lab write-up. That is due on Sunday. And they need to read a little chapter in the OpenStax textbook. So they have a to-do list. They should be able to look at that and see what they need to do, even though I'm not collecting every single one. And since I'm not collecting every single one, what I'm doing is these portfolios that I described a minute ago, just having them prove to me how much they understand about the material. In the modules, I arrange my modules by week. So here is the week that we are in now, Unit 1, Kinematics, Week 2. I do have an agenda every day, and then I have underneath that what we are doing that day, whether it's an assignment or just posting, like this would be a PDF that's been posted. So all of that is there. Now, what I wanted to show you is at the bottom, I have these classroom resources. So video about the teacher. This video that I'm making right now will be posted here, but it's not here yet. The AP equation sheet, just various things that they would need. If they need to go to their textbook, here's the online textbook link, etc. I have a YouTube channel. Here's my YouTube channel. Here's the AP Daily, etc. So the classroom resources is where you can get a lot of this information. And I will also, the syllabus right now is up here at the top, up here somewhere. Here we go, syllabus, and it has a typo. And I will move it down to the bottom because I feel like that is a resource. So anything you would need throughout the year, those kind of general overarching things would be down here in the resources. Okay, so hopefully I answered your questions in this video. Feel free to contact me if you ever have questions or you need to talk about anything regarding your student. I will be happy to answer your questions. This year has really started out great, and I'm hopeful that we're going to continue to have a good year this year.